Well, guys, another UK city has started down the road towards climate lockdowns and travel restrictions, with Canterbury deciding they should turn their city into something out of the Hunger Games or post-war Germany, as this article shows you here.
I don't fucking believe it.
You better believe it, because it's fucking happening.
Yes, like Oxford City, you announced similar nonsense recently. The scumbags in Canterbury are planning to do the same thing by 2045. This will see movement restricted between zones at first and then banned altogether, no doubt, when using private cars. The current plans sit there forcing drivers out onto an already busy A road just to go into another zone. Obviously that shows there it's got bugger all to do with the climate or trying to protect the environment, as they claim. This will then morph into being limited to entering other zones a set number of times each year until they eventually ban private cars, which is where this all ends up. In fact, the Conservative Council leader down there has actually defended this, which really shows how deep the globalist infection goes within the Tory party, though Labour would do the same thing, as you know. This is all part of the future plans that you had no say in making and will be forced upon you at great cost to you by people you never even voted for. It will eventually form part of a digital social credit system that can track your movements, purchases or political opinions and fine you if you step out of line or try to use more energy than they say you can. Jordan Peterson actually mentioned this recently, which should hopefully wake a few more people up to it with his following.
Do you think what we did during COVID could usher in our version of a social credit system?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, that's
And that
highly probable.
And that it will be accepted by many people because, again, that
They won't even
yearning
notice.
for safety.
They won't notice even. Yeah. You can't believe how much people don't know these things. When I went to the UK, I talked to some people from the House of Lords. This is within the last 6 months. The most astute of the people sitting in the House of Lords had only become aware of the woke movement in the last 18 months. Oh yes, you just can't believe how much this is not on people's radar. Not someone like you can't believe that at all because it's on your radar all the time. That's not, you live in a world that's on the cutting edge of this sort of thing. It's like people have no idea. It's like, well, why not have a digital passport? I mean, how convenient. It's like, fair enough, and you can understand that. Wouldn't it be nice if we could pay for everything with our phones? It's like, wouldn't it be nice if the central government, who's woke-oriented and makes carbon dioxide remediation the priority, knows exactly what you spend on everything so they can target you tax-wise with precision. It's like, oh, didn't think about that. It's like, yeah, you sure didn't. And oh yes, it's highly probable. It'll be a miracle if we escape from that. You can see these signs of this everywhere. When you go through airports now, there's a lot of automated barriers. You show your passport. It's like, well, these are automated barriers. What if you can't go through them? Well, that's the situation for many people in China. It's like, what are you going to do? You're going to argue with the machine? Like, you just cannot imagine how screwed you are. Once the machines can lock you out, you are in such trouble. And we're speeding towards that.
Well, he is right about where we're heading, and he's also right about the ignorance of the general population when it comes to how bad this will get. I've said similar things to people I know who thought digital payments and all that were great. They soon changed their tune when I told them everything you do can be digitally tracked and traced. This also means it can be used against you, and in future it likely will be. Shit, much of what we physically do now is tracked and traced since we all own mobile phones or drive registered cars, so we're already halfway there. At this point, AI can use that data to predict things you're likely to like or even bloody do. Then, when every car in the country is electric, they can outright stop you doing things that they don't want you to do, which will make this 15-minute neighbourhood bullshit zone work how they want it to. Never mind fines, the car just won't work if you try to do something the government's climate lunacy has decided you shouldn't do. The government will eventually be able to stop you driving your own car where you want if they decide it before, like I said, they'll outright ban them. The net zero by 2050 requires that and so much more. The sheeple out there would shit their pants if they actually knew what was coming.
Where